So what I'm going to do here is I have a official press release from Premier Boxing Champions about the ratings and basically the performance of the show. So, T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy live at RealCombatMedia.com, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you bits and pieces of it, and we're going to talk about it. So this is from March 9th, 2015. Saturday night's debut of Premier Boxing Champions, PBC on NBC, was the most watched professional boxing broadcast since 1998, according to the fast national data from the Nielsen Company. The PBC on NBC telecast averaged 3.4 million viewers, ranking as the most watched professional boxing broadcast in 17 years. Oscar De La Hoya's Fight Night on Fox, 5.9 million viewers, March 23rd, 1998. That was on a Monday. Viewership increased every half hour through the telecast and peaked at 4.2 million from the 10:30 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time slot during rounds 7 through 12 of Keith Thurman's unanimous decision victory over Robert the Guerrero. Now let's talk about that. As I said in previous videos after the fight, Keith Thurman and Robert Guerrero, both of them together, did exactly what they were supposed to do when you're fighting on national television. Now, as it said, viewership increased each half an hour. So when it came to the Broner versus Molina, that fight didn't really start getting some sort of excitement until later on in the fight, and that's because Broner's antics. Outside of that, looking at the overall fight, I can see why viewership probably would not have been as high during that fight, especially when you're trying to appeal to not only us, but the casual fans and also those channel surfers. So 3.4 overall, 4.2 during round 7 through 12. And remember, Keith Thurman knocked down Robert Guerrero in round 9. Round 10, 11, and 12 were pretty much epic rounds. Round 10, most importantly, to where if you were a channel surfer during that time, you got caught like, oh, these people are throwing down. And also what they do is on PBC, on NBC, is I noticed that they don't give you, there's no commercial breaks between rounds 10 and 12. So basically you get the end of the fight. Basically you get the end of the fight with no interruptions. And for someone who was turning to NBC and seeing boxing on for the first time in their lives, you were seeing during that time Robert Guerrero showing the name Guerrero Warrior and also looking like he could have maybe, not saying he would have, but and to people who are watching it for the first time, seeing that replay, let's say if you turn to the telecast in round 10, seeing that replay of Robert Guerrero going down, his eye leaking, then seeing the 10th round, him coming out and fighting like a warrior, that right there is an instant ratings boost in my opinion. But let me see what else, if there's anything else the article highlights or the press release highlights. Let's see here. The PBC on NBC led the Saturday night primetime victory among adults 18 to 49 with a 1.08 rating in the demographic, meaning that its strongest audience was 18 and 49 years old, which is what they want to appeal to. But at the same time, they want, the numbers to grow outside of that. I look at it like this. As I said before, and I'm not going to keep beating the dead horse, but as I said before, the ring entrances, the feel of the show, and I know, it's what they want to do, and I understand that they're going to do it the way they want to, but I felt a bit alienated from the sport, if that made sense. Also, let's talk about the app. More than 575,000 minutes, I don't know what that means, on the PBC on NBC coverage was live streamed via NBC Sports Live Extra to desktops, tablets, and mobile devices, ranking it the third best Saturday night this year behind the NFL wildcard playoff game and the NHL World and the NHL series game. On social media, NBC Boxing trended on Twitter worldwide throughout the telecast, along with PBC on NBC, hashtag PBC on NBC, boxers' names, and other key terms trending on the national level. Yeah, I tweet a lot of that stuff. I see it. I just be like, click, retweet. The next show is going to be on Saturday, April 11th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from the Barclays Center, Brooklyn. featuring Danny Garcia versus Lamont Peterson and Irish Andy Lee versus Peter Quillen. Here's something else to take note that I talked about briefly, is that when it comes to the sanctioning bodies, the WBC, the WBA, the WBO, and the IBF, I'm noticing that they don't. It seems as though they may be going for their own belt because they're not giving any acknowledgement to the other organizations. And when I say acknowledgement, for example, Peter Quillen is looked at to be taking on title holder Andy Lee, but not WBO 160-pound champion Andy Lee. During the telecast, Keith Thurman, current title holder. Danny Garcia, we know it's a catchweight bout, but he's being called welterweight lineal champion, but not, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand basically where I'm coming from, to whereas with this PBC on NBC and this PBC on Spike or whatever PBC in general, they're not giving any shine to the organizations. Now, on paper, it looks like the belts are on the line, but we don't exactly know, what's really happening with Peter Quillen and Andy Lee. And get this, Billy Joe Saunders, who's the #1 contender for that WBO, and he had the chance to fight Andy Lee before Peter Quillen went on an interview with IFL and basically said that the Andy Lee versus Peter Quillen belt fight was going to go on with or without the title. So Andy Lee was going to drop his a title, allegedly. So that makes me think that, well, Andy Lee would drop his title to get that chance to fight on PBC and NBC in Brooklyn, of all places, in New York. I understand that. But for some reason, man, I'm starting to really think that there may be a PBC title on the way. But, of course, I'm going to be on it. But during these Premier Boxing Champions telecasts, pay attention to how they treat their champions. For example, Adonis Stevenson versus Saki Obika. That's going to be on PBC on CBS, I believe. It's something to pay attention to whereas if they fight on national television, I'm thinking, or under PBC, I'm thinking that it'll be non-title fights, or maybe a new belt may arise. But then when it comes to fighters that fight on Showtime Championship Boxing or Showtime Boxing, like Gary Russell Jr. and Johnny Gonzalez, then that's going to be for the WBC title at 126 pounds. So I know it may sound a little confusing, but you got to pay attention to the broadcast if you've been watching them to pretty much get an idea of what I'm talking about. But basically, 3.4 million viewers overall. That's a good number. Looking at the fact that Adrian Broner's never fought in front of an audience of televised audience of 1.4, and when you look at the fact that it's on national television, either way, even if there's people that only watch for the first half an hour or 1.5 an hour in between, you still got a little bit exposure to. Whereas when Saturday night come around again, April the 11th, they might be like, they may see it and see that, well, damn, boxing's on again. Okay, I may watch for an hour this time instead of a half an hour. And then, you can start building fans as it goes along. But I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. Please visit realcombatmedia.com. It's the second link in the description box. And what we're going to be doing there is we have a poll for Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. And if you didn't see the ad for Mayweather versus Pacquiao during the Premier Boxing Champions on NBC, it was crazy. It was only about 30. I would say it was about 50 seconds long, something like that. But still, on the website realcombatmedia.com, right on the homepage, we got a boxing poll. Floyd Mayweather by decision, Pacquiao by decision. Floyd Mayweather by KO, Pacquiao by KO. Please vote and subscribe to this channel and also Be Real TV, which is a link right in the description box. And basically, if you're a UK boxing fan or an international boxing fan, outside of the United States, then there's someone over in the UK doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. T Street Controversy, T Street Controversy Live.